Hi guys, we are starting this year off right with making content and just getting a little clarity on what this year has to bring for us. I have talked about it for quite some time, but this year is a very important year. I'm just gonna go ahead and give y'all a little bit of this Lucky Star spray and so the year 2024 is a very abundant year for very specific reasons. One, it's 2024 is an 8 year. It is also 8 sideways is infinity, so it's just a little coding. If you don't understand coding and numerology and geometry and all that stuff, it's not important, but just understand that this year is important. This is literally your sign and your message for the beginning of the year and basically your outlook for the entire year too. But really, we are going into this year with a fresh perspective of our lessons and the things that we went through and experienced so we can understand like our true desires and our true needs, because a lot of the time when we are looking for when we're working on our manifestations, we get so hyper focused on details, or we get hyper focused on specifics, or the overthinking stage of the manifestation. So we get really stuck energetically. We get stuck and stagnant. So it actually for a lot of reasons, and just to think about it from a logical perspective, a cognitive perspective, like when you are overthinking things, your thought process is hyper focused on the anxiety and the anxious feeling, and the fear and the doubt. So that's why we get a little lost in our creativity. Our creativity dissipates and we kind of get into this lower vibration because we're looking so hard at our failures. We don't see like our successes and where we've grown. So this is just a little tidbit of information to begin with. But yeah, so let's get into this reading. I actually already pulled these cards. So the first card that we got here was the Lovers. So this new year we're going into this idea of love being a little bit different than what we expected it. So whether that be self-love or relationship, like these things are going to actually bring us into our own submission. So not necessarily that we're submitting to somebody else, but we're submitting to ourselves. We're submitting to our subconscious. We're submitting to our desire. We're submitting to our shadow. So we can really see what it is that we were wanting, and why we were wanting those things. But also this new partnership is actually going to amplify a lot of this growth for you, 303. It's going to show you a lot more of opportunity and a lot more of, that we had like this barrier, this wall up where we couldn't really see past it. And so now that we're shedding a lot of these layers and we're looking through our subconscious and our desires, we can actually kind of see through this illusionary wall that we built up. So the wall was here to protect our ego. It was here to keep us out of fear, even though we were technically still in fear because of our responding and the way we approach things. We were still kind of in our overprotecting phase where we block everything out, especially our manifestations. So that's just a little quick message with that. But when we come in, let me start, because this was the first card that I pulled here, was the Ten of Swords. So when we come in with a clearer perspective on like our lessons, like not looking at them as like so much of a way to kind of like punish ourselves. It's more about like growth and coming to terms with things, ending situations, and it feels very defeating. It feels very misfortunate. Like you feel a lot of this lack through these situations, but really a lot of it is to teach us, like we don't go through these life lessons to like punish ourselves or to teach ourselves a lesson. It's not really about that. I know it comes off that way, but really when you look at the more subconscious level of yourself, you'll start to see the things that you were being dishonest with yourselves about and what you were overprotecting yourself with, and not necessarily like the bad side of it, but the negative side of it, the things that really hold you back and don't really allow you to flourish or really accomplish what you're actually looking for in life. So you either run away or you block your manifestations through this fear. And this isn't like, this is just not even a confirmation. It's just like kind of like a forewarning, or not even a forewarning, like a just a just a little clarity, just a little insight on why these things happen. So with that, the next card that we got here was the Nine of Swords. So yeah, coming back into this with being able to stare fear in the face, stare your subconscious in the face, and just kind of like look at this with like not even like it may make you feel like doing this whole freezing, I don't want to, I'm just going to stay here and watch how things play out. Like, no, we're like able to see that response in ourselves now. So understanding that, we're here to look at this fear and face it. So we won't be running away, we won't be hiding. We'll actually be like, okay, well, now that I see that, now that I'm being a little bit more honest with myself, I can work on these things. I can, stare my fear in the face and become a little bit more vulnerable. And vulnerability is scary in this world. Like, we are built and we're conditioned to be people pleasers, but also with the sense of like protecting your ego so other people can't like tower over you. And that comes in relationships, partnerships, um, family, all of these things. It comes in and it kind of thwarts all of these things. So understanding like, okay, you know what? I am going to stare fear in the face. I'm going to become a little more vulnerable. I'm going to become a little bit more honest with myself. I'm going to just look at it in the eyes. And, whether I feel paralyzed or I feel like kind of stuck here because of whatever reflection I need to be doing, it's not going to really keep you in that state of being like where you're paused and you're just like stagnant. It's going to show you a lot more about yourself. So it's going to actually bring you a lot more insight about yourself than what you may have been like prepared for, or what you thought you were prepared for. I don't know. The important thing is it's going to show you a lot more layers to yourself that you were being, or you were kind of hiding under a rug, or maybe you weren't necessarily, you were just kind of putting it on the back burner. So it was still there, it was still stuff that you were working on and focusing on. But now that we're going into 2024 with like a whole new shift, like we're cutting those things out of our life, so this can be like a year to flourish. We have the Two of Wands here, so again, not necessarily being nostalgic, but being a little bit more perspective, a little bit more clear-mindedness. We have more clear-mindedness through going through all of this last few years. So yeah, the Two of Wands is about looking forward and with a lot more clarity and a lot more insight. So you don't see like all of these lessons as like a punishment. Like, you're just here hyper focused on all of the details, so you can just kind of drown yourself in all of the details. Like, you were here to kind of take this information, figure out what it meant, place it where it needs to be, and work on it, because there are so many things that we have to, I won't say like fix or change or anything, but there's always going to be elements of ourselves that are prepared to grow. We always have an opportunity to grow and to expand our ways of thinking, our creativity, our brain process, our thought process behind things. Like, this is how things change. Like, literally evolution works this way. So we can see things. I'm sorry, there's fireworks, so it's the new year. Welcome to 2024, by the way. Yeah, so we have the Two of Wands. So really understand that this is here to show you a lot more of why things worked out that way. So even if you're not necessarily wanting to go into that state of like hermit mode, where you're like, okay, well, that makes sense now, and doing all of that thought process, like, you don't really have to do all that anymore, because I'm pretty sure you've already done all that anyway. but it's just an opportunity to be like, oh, remind yourself like, oh, okay, yeah, that's why I put in this work, that's why I'm doing these things to improve my relationships, to improve my outlook in life, to improve the world around me and my energy and just my overall outlook on life. So again, this year is really going to bring you the justice that you've been looking for. It's going to show you a lot more on why, again, why we do the things that we do, and how to provide a better perspective within ourselves on. And even if we don't have all the answers, it's not really about having all the answers, it's just about allowing that opportunity of growth and opportunity of insight within you, so you can understand how things work, how things don't work, and yada yada. So those things are here to break cycles. Like, you're literally, like, you broke the cycle last year going through all of those things, but this is really, cause and effect. This is really about balance and accountability too. So we've, again, with facing our fears and facing our being vulnerable with ourselves, it brought us to this insight and looking forward to clarity, and it's actually showing us a lot more of ourselves and the things that we needed to be more accountable for. So how we respond and how we react to things, and allowing yourself kind of like a step back, not where you're going backwards, but just taking a step back and being like, okay, you know what, I need to process this, I need to take a little pause and take a little break, and you know what, I'm gonna be a little bit more accountable for my actions, because it takes two to tango. I don't care what anybody else tells you. It takes two people to tango. So I'm gonna see my side. I'm gonna allow a different perspective, and I'm gonna bring these two things together and just understand, not with not with an acceptance, not with a submission, but just being okay. Well, all right, this is the information. This is how things played out. This is why, and that makes sense. Because, honestly, if I was being put in that shoes too, I probably, I don't honestly, maybe I don't even know how I would respond. So I can understand why that response would happen. But that doesn't necessarily mean it's good or bad. It's just a way of viewing things. So you can see it with, again, more clarity, more insight. So, again, so we've shed a lot of those layers. We all have gone through a lot of those tower moments to bring us into this rebuilding of a foundation, and like, we're literally creating a brand new foundation too. See how he's like laying these bricks down. You got the window here, not exactly built up, but he's still putting in these pentacles and working on his foundation. So again, having this new perspective is allowing yourself to balance out and work on your main goals here, your main manifestations, and to focus on achievement and make yourself much more goal oriented. So whether it be like your career, your foundation, your family, your home life, all of these things kind of coincide anyway, but having that understanding of your of of why you're rebuilding a foundation is really where you're going to succeed and flourish way faster, way more energetically. You're going to see your manifestations play out so much more now, because you see with perspective. Like, you see with your perspective. You don't just see what's in front of you, you see with your own perspective too. So like, that's actually what's bringing you into a stronger state of being, a stronger state of self, a stronger sense of self. And it's actually going to take you to this door here. See this door? This is you entering 2024, babe. You have the Ace of Pentacles here. So anything that you've been working on as far as your manifestations, like, this is your sign that things are working out. You're going on a new adventure this year. The material reward for your hard work is, you're gonna see it. You got the Justice card, you got the Ace of Pentacles. This is an abundant year. Like, I don't know how to keep, I don't know, I'm gonna keep saying it, but I don't know how many more times I can say it, but I'm going to anyway. But like, this is literally the best year for your manifestation. So if you want to see how manifestation works. Just understand, it's not, again, it's not about hyper focusing on the details, but you can see the details and why things work out energetically when you have a clear mind, when you allow yourself the opportunity to fail and succeed. You're actually bridging this gap in between your mindset of being a failure and understanding that failure is actually part of the process. It's a part of the growth process. Like if you believed everyone was an expert at something and they just were born with all of these skills, like honestly, maybe a few of us are, but I feel like that is a lot more rare than what we believe. So we are so external with our thought process behind things, and so we see all these details and we reflect on the details and we mirror them back to us, like, okay, well, I'm just not lucky enough, I'm just not good enough, I'm just not blah blah blah, like fill in the gap, like I'm not enough. That's all you have to hear and be like, okay, you know what, that's what was stumbling me. That was what was stumping me up. So, allowing yourself this idea that failure actually will bridge you into success is actually where you're going to see this mindset change and shift for you. So you're not so detail oriented, hyper focused on the end goal, hyper focused on the money, hyper focused on like being successful. Those things come with the mindset, okay? Those things come with the mindset. So don't focus on the manifestation itself. Just do the work. Like literally just do the work and you'll see. I'm going to keep doing this. You will see how this thing plays out. And so that's going to show you how manifestation actually works. So if you were a believer or a non-believer, it don't matter. You're going to see it with a lot more clarity and why things may have not been working out the way you wanted them to before. And so they're going to shift into a way where you can see your manifestations, because there's something very like energetically uplifting about being able to see your manifestations work out and see your energy flourish and see your energy just create this bubble of flourishing energy flow. Just understand that was always a part of the process. You had to fail to succeed. You just had to. Okay, I love you guys. I hope you enjoyed today's reading. This is, again, your foundation, your overall look for 2024, but this is your beginning of the year. This is where we are. Collectively and individually, you're doing the work. I mean, if you're watching this video, this is literally your sign that you did the work and that this is just how things worked out. That's your confirmation. This is just how things work out. That's it. Yep. That's the message. Love you guys. Bye.